I have been told that there's been some situations, like if you hear me sniffling, guys, it's going around. So, listen, nothing to panic with. Everything's going to be fine there. But load management is something, BK, when these guys are just out all of a sudden, becomes load management days. I don't hate that. As analytical as Brian Kelly has been, you know the guys and the players that have been giving you everything that they've got. Everything that they've got. And I think Perkins has given you more than enough in camp to know that that star position is more than locked down. Let's just see tomorrow. I mean, if there's some more lingering stuff going on, sure, we'll point it out. And if they're not out there tomorrow, sure, we'll point it out. And then we can have the conversation. Just not when Brian Kelly's brought up that these guys are out just all of a sudden. I just don't think that there's a situation where anybody needs to look more into that. Let's get to this. There was an interesting point in practice today. If you noticed today, LSU posted a video of Mansour Delane, the corner from Virginia Tech, which I don't think we need to keep saying who they are. Either you know them by now or you don't. But Mansour Delane making a tackle on a screenplay on Chris Hilton. There was a part of practice today where Joe Sloan and I know our buddy Mike Scarborough got this on his practice footage, so you can go check it out. There was a period today where LSU was working on screens. And Joe Sloan was not with the offensive line and quarterbacks when the screen game was going on. He was with the receivers and the receivers only. Now, 9 times out of 10, Joe Sloan is always with the quarterbacks. Always. I haven't seen him go to another section. I haven't seen him done anything else other than with quarterbacks or calling plays. Today he's with the receivers. Because they're going to have to find a way. They're going to have to find a way that when they cannot run the ball against Clemson, do some of these long-form handoffs. They're going to have to. The screen game is apparent in that. I'll give an example. And I think this is actually very smart by Joe Sloan to focus in on this. You might have issues early in the run game, but it doesn't mean that you can't replicate it. The screen game for me, when you have as many speedy receivers as you do, has got to be a strength that you utilize with this offense. It does. It's got to be a point of contention. Go watch Ohio State versus Texas. And I don't want you to watch the clip version on YouTube. I want you to go back and watch the whole game. The first quarter and a half, Texas is trying to find a way to run the ball against Ohio State. All night they're trying to find a way, and they just couldn't do it. A lot like when they went up against Georgia, they just couldn't do it. Sark instantly changes his game plan and starts throwing the ball to his receivers in space quickly and on screens. We're going to get 6 yards, and we're getting down. And he kept running it on first downs, and it never mattered because they kept getting 5, 6, 7 yards, 5, 6, 7 yards. And they're set instead of second and 2 or second and 8, they're in second and 4, second and 2, or second and 2. They kept doing it over and over again. It's not going to be on your replays. But the one thing that I think that was so interesting today is Joe Sloan working with the receivers on the screen game and him losing his outright mind on these receivers and not blocking. Well, you got a lot of speed receivers, right? Chris Hilton, Barry Brown, Jelani Watkins, they're not necessarily the blocking type. So you want a fast, speedy receiver blocking a DB, that's not a matchup that he's going to win. You need to get Nick Anderson. You need to get Trey'Dez Green, Bauer Sharp. I don't give a flying Rudy Poo who you get out there. I do think it could be a massive weapon for you. Can you imagine the speed that you can have with guys like Jelani Watkins, with guys like Barry and Brown, with guys like Chris Hilton? Guys, we've literally seen in the SEC what Barryon Brown can and will do on a quick bubble screen. We've seen it. It's not like that shit on in reality doesn't exist. We've seen it. Joe Sloan lost his mind today on the receivers for not being aggressive enough in blocking. And he's not wrong. Guys, go look at the clip where Chris Hilton gets thrown a screen. How people in the comments were saying something about Chris Hilton is beyond me. Guys, a wide receiver had no idea what to do and missed a block, and Chris Hilton was standing there with the ball in his hands, and as soon as he catches it, Mansour Delane's there. It's not going to work. Nobody's going to break that. It could be a massive weapon for you, a very massive weapon. We've seen teams with a lot of speed from that slot position. Aaron Anderson, for crying out loud. Get him the ball. We've seen it be a strength for others. Can it be a strength for you? But the personnel that you're going to throw out there is not built to block a guy like Mansour Delane, who quite honestly is very versatile, that can play safety and corner. Just you can't throw screens to him because he's more physical than the guy in front of him. I can tell the pressure is on Joe Sloan. You can tell it. I don't mind that he goes in there and curses the guys out. It doesn't bother me none. Because, guys, quite honestly, if you can't – I think a couple of things are being very apparent here. You're running screens, getting on the receivers to find ways to get extensions of your run game and get your playmakers to the ball in space. And, guys, you already shook up some of the offensive line. And the biggest reports coming out of camp, whether you agree with my takes or not, is, yeah, offense probably didn't win that scrimmage. They probably didn't win it because, guys, they didn't. Newsflash for the end of the show. They didn't. They did not win it. I know it's trying to be painted out there as, it was a 50-50 battle. No, it wasn't. No one. Anybody that talks to anybody that's in the know, people were there. No, it wasn't. This defense continues to show up. Good. You might have a really damn good defense. Good. But that intensity starts growing along this offense, and I can tell it by Joe Sloan. Guys, they better start taking it to somebody. I know it's day 16 of camp. You're day one, you're getting back in the groove of things, but I got to tell you, offensively, you better start figuring it out. And I'm not talking about play calling. There are some guys in positions. Look, Barryon Brown and Garrett Nussmeier have had a damn good connection the last 2 weeks, and some of you receivers that think that you had a slotted spot might not have it. So you better go out there and take it to somebody. It could be a big weapon for you. Can you utilize it? I'm really interested to see this offense this week. There seemed to be a lot of intensity throughout practice today. Pressure will make either bust people or build diamonds. There's only going to be two outcomes. The good thing about pressure at a place like LSU is it either is going to make stars or make diamonds, or people are going to flake out. And you're in an intense battle right now because you have a potential playoff team in week one. A couple other things from practice. Look, I mean, you can tell in some of these run game stuffs, I mean, it's a 15-minute period, then you're out of there. They're still running a lot of walkthroughs for Clemson. I mean, guys, they're going all in, and they better. I've noticed some people being a little bit shocked that they're already doing Clemson stuff. Why are you shocked? I know you're 18 days out and all that good stuff, but I don't think that matters. You better go take it to them. So listen, a very small practice report. It was a 12, 15-minute practice today, and you're out of there. Kind of more of a abbreviated walkthrough. You get back out there tomorrow in full pads, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right. I see that we have some super chats in here. Let me get to this one from Dane. And then we'll get to the scrimmage. Dane says a $5 super chat says run a West Coast type of offense until they can figure it out how to run the ball. I mean, screens can do that. Quick slants can do that. You got to get these playmakers the ball out in space. Joe Sloan lost his godforsaken mind today at practice. I know Scarborough got it. Strike the bag. Strike the bag. Block. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. You can't say you love intense coaching when you see a guy like Saban do it, and then when Sloan gets out there because for whatever reason you do or don't like him, that you don't love it. You better take it to him, man, because Clemson ain't going to back down. Florida's not going to back down. Bama's not going to back down. A&M's not going to back down. South Carolina's not going to back down. There's nobody who's going to back down from you. Going half speed when you're trying to get this going and you got to pick it up, you better go out there and make every opportunity because someone's going to beat you out. Truth be told, Barrion Brown keeps making plays. That is just the truth. Go back and listen to when Barrion Brown committed to LSU. The first take that I had, please go back if you'd like. It's like he might be the best wide receiver pickup in the country from the portal based off of what you want to do. Him and Garrett have found a connection, and they're going to continue to. So that wide receiver room, whether it be Nick Anderson, Aaron Anderson, Kyle Parker, Chris Hilton, you better figure it out because 6 is here. And he ain't giving it up. We've seen the dude in the SEC do some really good things. Can he do it here will be an ultimate question, and I think that he can. I think that he can. Let's see if he does. All right. Let's get to the scrimmage. So listen, we will be out there at Piers on Saturday for the final scrimmage before opening week, before week 1. I am grateful for that. I am glad that is happening. I am forever supportive that BK allows us to be and have the access that we do. With that being said, we were not out there this week. Made some this past Saturday. It was locked down. There were some boosters that were there, and you know what happens. Here were some of the things that I was told about the scrimmage. Blake, I don't trust you. Sounds good. Go listen to someone you do trust. These are the 6 things that I heard that went down on Saturday. Number 1, let's get some announcements out of the way. Michael Van Buren appears maybe to have had some broken fingers. His fingers were taped. I was told he hit it on somebody's helmet. And listen, I thought Michael Van Buren had his best week of camp the week before. And I do believe that if you went into a game-type situation today, your number 2 quarterback, unless the grace of miracle and Jesus Almighty can figure something out for you, I do think that oh gosh, bless it. Colin Hurley, I had a brain fart. Colin Hurley is your number 2 guy as of right now. If Michael Van Buren was healthy, it would be fine. I did hear that there was a scrap. I know a lot of you have asked about it. There was a scrap between Bauer Sharp and Whit Weeks, from what I was told. Who cares? Good. I don't care about camp fights. I could care less. Y'all really think Nick Saban didn't have camp fights? That's what some of y'all believe. Oh my God, they're fighting. And I make fun. Media members always get, oh God, they're fighting. And I'm like, why do y'all keep? Why do y'all all? What does it matter? They're hitting one another. Of course they're going to get pissed off. It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Was a pretty good scrap. Bauer Sharp, I was told, got the better of Whit Weeks. Roommates beware. Chris Hilton was taken out of the scrimmage. Chris took a big hit, and they said, no, we're not doing that. You're not getting hit like that. They have basically put Aaron Anderson and Chris Hilton in bubble wrap. The problem in those guys not being out there and doing things is people can take your spot. That rolls into number 2. Guys, Barrion Brown keeps making plays. I don't think it was as bad as some intended for it to sound, or maybe what they heard on the scrimmage. But Barrion Brown made some massive plays. There are a couple of screens from Bauer Sharp that and some busted coverages against our defense they were able to do or get yardage on at a significant rate. But I do think Barry and Brown and the connection with Garrett has been a really good one as of late. Some of these deep passes and deep vertical throws that they keep throwing to him, he's getting open and making some ridiculous catches. I heard a couple of times in the scrimmage on Saturday and a couple of times in some one-on-one periods, Barryon and Nuss continue to find a connection. The bottom line remains is I think number 6 has had two really good weeks. The connection between Garrett and Barryon has been a big one. And quite honestly, they have not gone the direction of a lot of other people. You know, the limitation of the reps that I've seen Chris Hilton been thrown, guys, either they're throwing Chris Hilton a fade route or they're throwing him a quick screen. That's about it. Aaron Anderson has not been in there much since the little tendonitis in the knee or whatever it was. And it's made one of these receivers step up and might be what they were trying to do ultimately. Is like, listen, we're purposely not going to throw the ball to Chris and Aaron and see what happens here. But the bottom line remains is somebody's got to step up. Is it Nick Anderson? Is it Kyle Parker? Is it Barryon Brown? And it seems like Barryon Brown has made that leap. Let's see what continues to happen at receiver. But I did hear he had a lot of explosive plays. Gus, what do we make of our front seven? Because if the reports are true, that this defense took it to you a little bit offensively up front. It is concerning about your offensive line and that continuously being an issue. But I do start asking the question, man, that means that these guys are bringing it every day. If you had like a good day here, then maybe 2 practices go by and a good day there, I would ask myself the question of, okay, well, there are some days that the D-line just absolutely brings it and they rake. They just get after it. But there's some days the offensive line holds strong. Guys, I'm really starting to question how good this front seven might be. And I know I want to be limited right now in talking about that front seven based off of the quote unquote, in the word I was told, domination at times that they had on Saturday. The question that I ask is, man, we've had 16 days of this, 16, and they keep bringing it every day. Number one, it's been high competition in that room. I don't think any defensive tackle has felt safe with Bernard Gooden creeping up. I don't think that there's been a lot of downplay at edge because, listen, Patrick Payton's coming in here saying, hey, man, I'm going to be a starter. And Gabe Rutherford and Jack Pyburn have said, not so fast, my friend, hashtag Lee Corso. I'm starting to question how good you are in your front seven. The question that I have is, are you going to be that good come Saturday against Clemson? And does that translate onto the field? Because you have given your offensive line more problems than they can have. The counter argument to that is the offensive line just below average? Are they not really that good? No, Brian Kelly seems to believe, for whatever it's worth, and he said last week in his press conference, I've been around a lot of first-round picks or been around a lot of offensive lines. I think this is going to be a good one. I really do think this is going to be a good one. Okay, let's hypothetically act like that is the case. Then that means that your defensive line might be very special. Because if what he's saying is true and he thinks this offensive line will be good, well, by God, that defensive line might be better. I don't know where I sit on that scale. I don't know where I sit on that totem pole. For me, I want to be optimistic and say, look, man, I really do believe. And there's a lot of me that believes that in your front seven, you might just be that damn good. But I'm hesitant because I don't know how good this offensive line is or can be. Because they keep doing what they need to do. I was told the running game was moderately, I guess, okay, if you want to be optimistic there too, other than some long Caden Durham runs, which I think there was a couple for 12, 13, 14. And other than that, it was locked down. If that is the case, because I'm not there to see it, if that is the case, then we'll see. I don't like speculating on scrimmages. I don't like speculating on stuff that I cannot see. But there does come a point in time that feels like that's the narrative coming out of this thing. If that is the narrative that is coming out, then, guys, I got to be real with you. I think you might have a really good fucking football team. I really do. I don't feel as if Brian Kelly, see, here's another part that I said here too. Stay with me here. Brian Kelly has been very open the last 3 seasons about when there's a position group that is weak. He's constantly gone out there and made a point. In 2023, guys, I mean, he went at SEC Media Day, said, man, we're young at DB. Golly, we're just really young. He went on with Josh Pate twice. And then talked about his secondary. Last year, he talked about the inexperience at some key positions. He goes, man, how do you replace it, Jane? You know, the first thing that Brian Kelly said in spring going into 2024 was, how in the world do you replace Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas? Go listen to the press conference. I was there. It's the first thing he said. They're not walking through that door was his exact words. If Brian Kelly is correct, he knows more about football than I do. And it might just be coach speak. He hasn't given us a lot of that. That's what I'm trying to say. He's been very blunt. If you listen to him, he's been blunt. This offensive line per him might be a pretty damn good one. Then that means your defensive line might be that much better. The lack of offense does worry me. It does worry me. That would be the part of where I sit. Gabe Relaford has been outstanding. I think Patrick Payton has done some outstanding things. Jack Pyburn has been relentless. And guys, I mean, Bernard Gooden and Don McKinley has given this interior deep offensive line problems and fits. Don McKinley needs to have a massive year. It might not show up on the stat sheet, but you can't get pushed around like you did a year ago. You just can't. Brian Kelly raved about how big of an offseason Don McKinley had. We need it from him. We need it. Because you might have some struggles early out of the gate offensively. You might just have that. Can you win a game 20-17? Can you do that? And before we act like that's not possible in today's game, bullshit. And if you think it's not the same for Clemson, go watch some of their games from last season. Bullshit. Can you win a game 20-17? Can you hold Clemson to 17? If you keep whipping an O off, and I don't think Clemson's offensive line is that great, to be real with you. All 5 of them are returned, but Parks, their right guard, is out. He's on crutches. Let's see if he comes back for the game. He's got 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks. We'll see. As I mentioned earlier in the practice report, I think what happened on Saturday was a big reason as to why you saw shakeup along your offensive line today. Because they went 15 straight days with the same exact offensive line. And today they come out of a scrimmage, the first day that they came back, and they shook some things up. Of course they did. They ran 5 plays in 11-on-11 with Carius Kern. They ran 5 plays with Weston Davis, with the first team at right tackle. What does that mean? I don't know. But we'll see. Guys, I will tell you this. Saturday, I was told, was another day where the run game wasn't as effective as maybe it needed to be. You're not going anywhere you want to go until that thing gets fixed. You're just not. You got to be very special. Guys, the teams that run the football the most effectively are the teams that are there at the end. Every time. You don't have to have the best overall rushing offense in the country, but you better be damn near sure that you can line up and run for 4.